Potato chips.
So, okay, use that however you want. Go ahead. Whoever wants to start first.
They'd spilled everywhere. I knew there was no way I was going to be able to pick them up.
So, I was taking my daily stroll out because I work at the Lay's factory, and man, it was kind of stormy outside.
And they'd spilled everywhere. I knew there was no way I was going to be able to pick them all up.
So I was taking my daily walk outside because I was going to work at the Lay factory, and it was pretty stormy outside.
Anyways, what do I see in the storm drain on a stormy night but a stormy bag of Lay's stormy potato chips?
And they had spilled everywhere. I knew there was no way I was going to be able to pick them all up.
And then I picked them all up.
So I was taking my daily stroll out because I was headed to work at the Lay's factory. It was a pretty stormy day.
And what do I see in the storm drain on this stormy day but a box of stormy Lay's potato chips?
And they had spilled everywhere. I knew there was no way I was going to be able to pick them all up.
And then I picked them all up. And I said, my stormy chips.
So, I love Mountain Dew, but like, I love my job at the Lay's potato chip factory.
And so I was walking, taking my daily stroll out to work at the Lay's potato chip factory, and it was a pretty stormy day.
Anyways, what do I see on this stormy day at the stormy Lay's potato chip factory in the storm drain but a box of Lay's stormy potato chips?
And they had spilled everywhere. And I knew there was no way I was going to be able to pick them all up.
And then I picked them up. And I said, yay, my stormy chips.
So, I love Mountain Dew, right? But I also love my job at the Lay's potato chip factory.
And so I took my daily walk out to work at the Lay's potato chip factory, and it was a pretty stormy day.
Anyways, what do I see on this stormy day in the storm drain on the stormy Lay's potato chip factory but a box of Lay's stormy potato chips?
And what I do with these stormy Lay's potato chips is I open the bag of the stormy Lay's potato chips and I take one out.
And they had spilled everywhere. I knew there was no way I was going to be able to pick them all up.
And then I picked them all up. And I said, yay, my stormy chips.
So, I love Mountain Dew, right? But I also love my job at the Lay's potato chip factory.
And so I was taking my daily stroll out to work at the Lay's potato chip factory, and it was a pretty stormy day.
And so what do I see on this stormy day in the storm drain at the stormy Lay's potato chip factory but a box of Lay's stormy potato chips?
And I pick up the bag of the stormy Lay's potato chips and I open the bag of the Lay's stormy potato chips. And I take one out.
Then my boss from the Lay's stormy potato chip comes out and goes, Marcus, what are you doing?
And they spilled everywhere. And I knew there was no way I was going to be able to pick them all up.
And then I picked them all up and I said, yay, my stormy chips.
So we'll go with Fortnite.
And that was when he started default dancing. And that was when he started default dancing all over my grave.
My grandma walked into the room and she said, no more Fortnite.
And that was when he started Fortnite default dancing all over my grave.
And so, as the 13-year-old I am, proceeded to throw a mega tantrum and broke the TV along with my Xbox controller, and then screamed, "Why?"
And then my grandma walked in and she said, no more Fortnite.
And that's when he started
I screamed and I cried and I punched like 5 holes in my wall, and then I just couldn't control myself because I lost.
And so, as a 13-year-old I am, I then proceeded to throw a tantrum and break my TV screen and my Xbox controller, and then screamed, "Why?"
And then my grandma walked into the room and said, "No more Fortnite."
So we're at Sandy Shores in Fortnite, and me and my duos partner are playing Fortnite, and then another Fortniter comes up behind me while I'm opening up a Fortnite loot box in Fortnite.
And then he starts default dancing all over my grave.
And I screamed and I cried and I punched like 5 holes in my wall, and I was just distraught because I lost.
And so, as the 13-year-old I am, proceeded to throw a tantrum and break my TV and Xbox controller, then started to scream, "Why?"
And then my grandma walked in, and she said, "No more Fortnite."
It was 3:40 p.m. I'd just gotten out of my 8th grade social studies class. I took the bus home, listening to Chug Jug with You on repeat the entire way home. So excited to go home and crank 90s on my Xbox with my best friend, Fortnite Gamer 69. So I got home. I went at my Xbox with my $300 controller, plugged it in, booted up the game, got on call with my friend, "Hey, ready to crank some 90s on Fortnite?" And we loaded in the lobby, duos, as we always do. I said, "Hey man, I'm really feeling it. I think we can get this #1 victory royale this time." And he said, "Oh, we'll see about that."
So, I'm playing Fortnite with my best friend in Fortnite, and we're playing duos in Fortnite. We're at Sandy Shores from Fortnite. And you won't believe what happens next. There's a guy in Fortnite and he comes up behind me. And before you know it, pew pew pew!
And then he started default dancing on my grave.
And I screamed and I cried and I punched about 5 holes in my wall, and I was just distraught. I had lost.
And so, as the 13-year-old I was, proceeded to then throw a tantrum, break my TV and my Xbox controller, and then started to scream, "Why?"
And then my grandma walked in and said, "No more Fortnite."
And so I then proceeded to pick this girl up that we had planned for over like 1 day. And she called me, she was like, "Hey, we still on for tonight?" And I said, "Oh yeah."
And that was the last time I ever rode in the Hoosier Hurricane.
And so I proceeded to pick this girl up. So we'd been talking for about like 3 days. And so I called her because I was outside, and she said, "Are you ready for tonight?" I said, "Oh yeah."
And so once we got to the food stand, I said, "Yeah, it's okay. I brought a lot of money and I want to use it all. So don't worry. You can get as much food as you want, because I know I'm going to." So I bought all the blue cotton candy they had.
And that was the last time I ever rode in the Hoosier Hurricane.
And so I stepped out. I'm about to pick up this girl who I'd been talking to for about 3 days. And I called her outside her house, and I was just like, "Hey, you ready?" And she said, "Are we still on for tonight?" And I said, "Oh yeah."
And when I'm picking this girl up, wow, she's crazy. She wants to go get like only go to the food stands. Only the food stands. You guys know how expensive that is? Anyways, I got like $12 in my pocket. And you know what? We just go.
And so we got to that food stand, and I told her, yeah, don't worry. You can get all the food you want, because I know I'm going to. And so I got all the blue cotton candy I could.
And that was the last time I ever rode in the Hoosier Hurricane.
And so I step out and I call this girl, I'm about to pick up this girl, and we've been talking for like 3 days. And so I call her because I'm outside her house and I'm like, hey, you ready? And she's like, you still on for tonight? I said, oh yeah.
And this girl's like crazy. She wants to go to the food stalls only. And I got like $12 in my pocket, so you know you're right.
And so we go to the food stands, and I tell her, yeah, it's okay. You can get all the food you want, because I know I'm going to. And so I got all the blue cotton candy I could.
And eventually, I was able to convince her to just ride one roller coaster with me. But she insisted on bringing her food with her on the roller coaster. I said that she shouldn't, but she insisted. So, what do we do when we get to a big drop? Well, I'm grabbing onto the seatbelt and I'm enjoying the roller coaster like a dignified person. She has her nachos in this hand. And then one flies and lodges right in my mouth.
And that was the last time I ever rode in the Hoosier Hurricane.
So I'm picking up this girl, right? We've been talking for like 3 days. And I'm outside her house and I call her and I'm like, hey, are you ready? And she's like, we still on for tonight? And I said, you know it.
So this girl's like crazy. She wants to go to the food stalls only. And you know, I got like $12 in my pocket, so I'm just like, why not?
So we go to the food stalls, and I tell her, yeah, you can get all the food you want, because I know I'm going to. And so I get all the blue cotton candy I can.
And she stops me and she goes, can we pretty please get nachos? And I said yes.
And so finally, I convinced her to just ride one roller coaster. But she insists on bringing her food with her. So when we are about to get to this big drop, I'm clinging onto the railing. I'm about to enjoy the roller coaster like a dignified person. But she's got her nachos in this hand. So right as we hit the drop, a nacho flies out and lodges right in my mouth.
And that's the last time I ever rode in the Hoosier Hurricane.
So, I invited this girl to go on the Hoosier Hurricane with me, but she didn't know it yet. I only asked her to go to the amusement park with me. And then I scoured around my house to find money because I had chucked my Xbox and my controller at the TV. And then I was like, I should bring some snacks on the way. So I pick up a Stormy bag of Lay's chips. and then yeah.
And so I'm on my way to pick up this girl who we've been talking for about 3 days. And I'm outside her house and I call her and I'm like, hey, yo, you ready? And she says, are we still on for tonight? And I go, yes, we are.
And this girl's crazy, bro. Like, she wants to go to the food stalls only. So, me, with $12 in my pocket, you know we're going.
And so we get to the food stalls, and I tell her, yeah, you can get all the food you want, because I know I'm going to. And so I buy all the blue cotton candy I can.
And she stops me and she goes, can we pretty please get some nachos? And I said yes.
And so I finally convinced her to just ride one roller coaster. But she insists on bringing her food with her. And so what happens when we're about to get to this big drop? Well, I'm gripping onto the railing. I'm about to enjoy the roller coaster like a dignified person. And she's got her nachos in this hand. So what happens when we hit that big drop? A nacho flies right into my mouth.
That was the last time I ever rode in the Hoosier Hurricane.